The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. The Nasdaq specifically still kind of sitting in that range here for the price action. You saw us open near 20,500, reject down towards 20,003, bounce back up, and you're actually trying to get the breakout and continuation here into the end of the day. Now, I really want to see longer time frames, 2 hour, 4 hour, hold above this 20,520 to get that confirmation. You can see going basically all the way back to September 26. We've been rejected almost 10 times at this level, and this level goes all the way back to June 14th and July 1st, June 30th, give or take, right there, as you can see there. This has been your major resistance sitting in this range now. What I will say is on higher time frames as well, you're making higher lows. That's what you want to see. And you're trying to now make a higher high breaking out of this structure, pushing back into 20,600. I will tell you right now in the after hours and looking into tomorrow, if you can hold above this 20,510, 20,520, you are looking for a continuation there. And you could actually end up, in my opinion, pushing into those highs by tonight. That's what I would really be looking for there. Now, when we go into ES and SPY, this is where a lot of people are really focused here, is what's happening here. Now, let's actually get rid of some of these drawings so you can see. And if you're not following, I post this all on Twitter. So that's what's going on there. You were making these higher lows that we kind of talked about developing back here, and we talked a lot about this over the weekend and what was going on. Obviously, as you can see there, you're making these higher lows. You broke down on the day, but you popped back up, finding buyers and establishing back there as well. What I will say is you look at the daily in higher time frames, you're still making those higher lows, as you can clearly see as you're pushing up, making higher lows, and still technically trying to make higher highs as well. This is the first lower high you made, but we'll see going into tomorrow as Nasdaq is kind of playing catch up here, as you can see with Qs outperforming SPY on the day for the first time in a while, and you're also holding where you need to there. But going back into SPY, what am I looking at here? On the day, you saw some of the tech names and some of the, more importantly, semiconductors get a little bit of a bounce, like NVIDIA pushing into all-time highs. We'll talk about that in a second. If you can start mounting back above this level right here, locally right there, around 585.3, in my opinion, you're looking for an all-time high break, and I think you start pushing into 590. It's the most likely scenario, right? So a break, retest, continuation is what you look for. Going into Qs, really simple to see here as well. We covered Nasdaq, but when you zoom out, you can see here too, going way back here, you're 593.2, give or take, and then your breakout point's 487 roughly, right? Now this zone in between here is very illiquid, meaning every time that we usually break into the zone, we get a push back down to 487, or we break above, we get a push back into 493. Today was one of those cases where you didn't get that type of action. You had an initial breakdown at 930, immediately bought back above 493 and held that level. This is the best hold that you're getting here on Nasdaq specifically, okay? And it's playing a lot out with SMH semiconductors. Now, SMH started bouncing today, finally. We talked about the gap fill that you had down here. We talked a lot about this in Discord as well. You broke down and you're bouncing back up, and you want to see us remount the 256. And again, I think this next time you mount and break back above 256, you're looking for Nasdaq to break and push into all-time highs. My personal opinion. And when we look at what's happening with semiconductors, you have to look at something like NVIDIA, the biggest semiconductor out there, which is now back at all-time highs as well. And this was the trade of the day. If you weren't involved, sorry, tough luck, but best setup you could have gotten today. All you were looking for was the initial break this morning above 140 roughly, and then you broke back down, you remounted right here at around 1135, and you broke nonstop back into 144 and still running here in the after hours. Best play easily of the day. That was the number one trade we had today in Discord. Massive printer across the board. There's no doubt. Best trade out there, right? So that's where we are right now. But again, the crazy part is semiconductors, SMH, are still roughly, still down, right? Semiconductors aren't breaking out. So you're getting this massive breakout on your top semiconductor name, but the other names aren't broken out yet. So that's why I'm looking at AVGO, AMD, what's happening with TXN, which has earnings tomorrow. We have LRCX and these other names as well getting ready, Micron and ARM, other names that are getting ready to break out. But I think it's very important that we're paying attention that NVIDIA leading the clear way here. And I'm looking at AVGO specifically because you're basing now making a higher low here as well in higher time frames, which AVGO doesn't get enough credit for being such a large semiconductor. But when you start mounting back above 180.26.3, I mean, I think you can really start pushing into 182, then back into 185 like you have before. But what you're seeing down here is really nice. The base that you're making, finding a clear support, and really on the 2-hour and higher time frames is now making a demand down here, which is going to make a very strong support for you to continue bouncing like you have been. And if you look at higher time frames, that's what you've done here in AVGO. Make a demand, shoot up, make a demand, hopefully get a push up, but demand, shoot up, demand, shoot up. That's what you want to see. So you're making that base for these bounces as well. So semiconductors still look good. A step further is you look at something like Apple, and this was kind of the biggest surprise for me on the day. I'm still happy with Apple. But I didn't get the clear shot that I wanted. This is the only trade that really didn't pan out like I really wanted it to today. You got above 236.2, your high from Friday or Thursday. Friday, as you can see there. You get above it, then you shoot into basically 236.9, 237, and kind of stall out here. Apple's gonna break out. This is your all-time high right here, just to let you know. And then this is your previous all-time high right here at 237.21, give or take. You're going to get the breakout. It's just like a matter of timing that breakout at this point. But above 236.2, you're looking for all-time high breakouts, which again is interesting. Despite selling on SPY, Apple performed so well in it. Even though the dip here, like Apple still performed fantastic, right? So important to understand that you're getting some pullbacks on some of these names, but on some of these other names, they're still providing great opportunities. Amazon, another big name here. We talked about what was happening with the POC, point of control. Amazon mounting back above 188.7. Again, very bullish above this level, 188.7, your 2021 high. I think it's working its way into 190 and higher. So again, Amazon, one of my biggest buys here as well. CrowdStrike, another big name here, mounting your 200 daily moving average, continues to be very impressive. You know, I'm telling you, this has a room into 335, 336, give or take. Lots of room there. Very bullish as well. Great performer so far in the year. So again, top names I'm really watching out there, what I'm paying attention to. Can't be more clear about that. Those are my favorite ones out there right now. Now, also too, giving you that breakdown of what's happening there with earnings, guys. I'm telling you right now. Again, tomorrow you have Verizon in the morning, GM, 3M, RTX. I think you have Lockheed Martin. Those are more Dow names, okay? And XLC Communications there as well. But again, as you go into TXN after close tomorrow, that's going to be your biggest earnings tomorrow, my personal opinion. And then Wednesday's your biggest day. You have Boeing, AT&T, Coke. You also have what's happening, LRCX, a semiconductor, IBM, Tesla, QuantumScape. Those are bigger names there as well. ServiceNow, those are all decent names there as well. So what I'm really watching for is going to be on Wednesday. But again, Tuesday, tomorrow is still kind of important in the after hours. So be paying attention. Pre-market's a lot of Dow names, just to let you know. Pay attention to that, what I'll be focused on there. But I do want to let you know, guys, if you're not following on Twitter, the link is down below. Again, I'm posting charts, posting my favorite stocks, what I'm watching for, the rundown as well. All right, it's going to be what's happening here on the newsletter to give you the rundown there. The newsletter is free. The link is down below. But again, I try to give you as much information as possible when I'm not posting here on YouTube, just to make sure you are up to date and everything along those lines. Maybe some good trolls as well, but that's what we're looking for there. But again, make sure you're paying attention. I also want to say right now, guys, if you're interested, the Discord link, it is in the bio right now. You can check it out down below. There are some spots available, so if you're interested, it's usually, and has been sold out for a while now, but we opened up some spots. I'm going to close it tonight just to let you know, so the link won't be available anymore. So if you're interested, tap in while you can. The link is down there. So yeah, take advantage while you can. So tap into those trades and what we're looking at there. But again, I want to highlight just what's happening there in the market. Today it was interesting that you're getting that separation there on ES and on Nasdaq, and you haven't had that separation in some time. And that's the biggest notion that I wanted to see here today, right? The biggest levels you continue to watch are how you're reacting to these levels right here, right? I'm gonna make this very clear. This level right here, it's not saving for me right there, right? And this is just that little pivot level, 58.92, right? You can see as we break below it earlier this morning, right here, you break below it, 58.92, boom, massive drop, like almost 30 points on ES directly to the downside. And you bounce back up, reject, eventually you remount, and you're bullish the rest of the day. So again, that's kind of been your pivot point here, what you're really paying attention to, and how I've been really tracking what's happening here on ES. But the best thing today was you get that dip on Dow, a little bit of a pullback here on Dow and ES, but Nasdaq holds its own. Nasdaq does its own thing. And this is the story of what you really want to happen. Can the Nasdaq hold up without ES and without Dow? Because once tech, XLK, SMH, and semiconductors start to break back out, get that continuation with cloud as well, again, that's when you get that parabolic movement on the market. Now, I know everyone's like, oh, the market's moving great, and SPY is moving good. But we know what happens when you get the best and biggest money-making opportunities is when the Nasdaq is leading the market. No one can deny that simple fact. And I'm going to tell you right now, as we look at this chart, Nasdaq looks like a monster. I don't care about the dip that you had today. The dip really just shows how great the buyback was. But I mean, I'm just telling you, higher lows since early October, flat top basically at 20,520. You get the breakout here. I mean, in my opinion, it's going to be steamrolling into 20,900, most likely all-time highs, right? That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm prepared for, and that's where I really think the opportunities really lie here. That's why I think semiconductors are just heating up right now. I think earnings are very hot right now. You're getting some good pullbacks on names like Meta as well. Really crazy. Came down to 570-day. Awesome opportunities. Microsoft still sitting around the 200 SMA. Awesome opportunities. Lots of upside there as well. Google, we talked a lot about this one too, getting back above 164, but the break of 168.7 is going to be a monster breakout. CrowdStrike, I've talked a lot about this name, mounting the 200 SMA. And when you look at the higher time frames, you cannot help but see the massive opportunity across the board, right? And that's what has to get you the most excited. Micron, again, got stopped out of the trade, but I'm still telling you, above 111.5, wherever the 100 daily moving average is here, you have upside into 117, 121, then 127. These are monster names, and that's why I'm so excited about what's taking place here. And it's not often that you get these big opportunities in the market with very volatile situations and kind of everything coming together like it is right now. But I will say, I do anticipate a little bit of a pullback going into the middle or beginning phases, second week of November, right after the election. When all that stuff comes out, I do think we'll get an election pull, get a little bit of a dip, and then really set up going into the end of the year with December, et cetera, and going into the beginning of the year. But again, I'm telling you right now, I'm happy with how we're performing. I don't think it's dip time just yet. We'll get that information when we need to, when we start setting in some lows, and we'll get another big buying opportunity. But as of right now, I still think you're very set up over the next 2 weeks to continue performing like we have been over the last few weeks. Very excited about this, very strong. DXY still is the problem here with how it's been heating up. I do believe DXY yields will cool off very soon, my personal belief. But again, how I'm watching, how I'm really trying to prepare for this market, Bitcoin still looks good as well. There's major risk on signals there. But again, IWM, a little bit of a dip on the day, but it's still very happy, still potentially putting in a higher low. And that's what you're really setting up here for, and why I believe the market looks hot, and why I think good opportunities are coming across the board. Discord links in bio, everything like that. Check it out if you're interested. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you follow on Twitter.